Welcome to the Dr. Leadership Podcast, where the DR stands for Driving Results. Our focus is weekly conversations around life and business relationships and the important leadership qualities for both. These concepts and qualities will help you drive positive results in both your business and personal lives. A weekly connection point to help business leaders develop individual contributors, managers, and executives on your teams. We also will tie in concepts around family focus and life lessons to help you drive success in your personal life. Welcome to the Dr. Leadership Show. Let's get after it. Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome to the Dr. Leadership Podcast. The doctor is in. No waiting in my waiting room. We get right after it every week. Hope you had an awesome week. I had an interesting one. I'll touch on it in just a second. But quick reminder, hey, reach out. Having lots and lots of growth on the subscription site. Lots and lots of growth in the downloads. I continuously want to remind myself to remember to thank all of you because I'm having fun with this thing, and it's fun to see the growth numbers. I hope I'm having some impact on you. I had a couple of really nice texts this week from people saying that it's making a difference, so that's what keeps me going. I'm no rocket scientist or genius here, just somebody with a lot of positive outlook in life and trying to help any way I can. Remember, you can reach us via email at drleadership@gmail.com. And also, you can check out the website, and that's where the subscription link is, at www.drleadershipresults.com. That's drleadershipresults.com. And then check the subscription site. Takes you out to our Patreon site, and you get all sorts of goodies out there. There's always 3 or 4 early editions on the regular podcast information, and great interaction with business leaders of all types, and I've got a good one coming up. Just uploaded a great one from Melissa Ness last week, CEO and founder of Connectify HR. Great conversation, absolutely fabulous young lady that is making huge impacts in the community, and I've got a big one coming behind it too. A couple big ones actually. Former NFL player and world champion in the Arena League. I'm not going to give the name yet. And also a world-renowned author around leadership and consulting, spoken in 44 countries. He's agreed to come on too. Had a wonderful time meeting him this week and starting some preliminary planning there. So great stuff coming at the Leadership Lounge. You get access to that by the membership link. And again, that's at www.drleadershipresults.com. So, hey, the thing I talk about a lot on here, we talk a lot, and I've mentioned several times that being a leader is really kind of a psychologist type role. And it is about using people's mental approaches, thoughts, etc., to drive them to greater results than they themselves think they can get to. That's what being a leader is to me, is pulling more out of someone than they believe themselves to be able to be capable of. Today, I want to take it just a little different direction. I want to talk about your own mental health and talk about this word of anxiety. And is anxiety a benefit, a strength, or is it a weakness? And it can go both ways. You can utilize it to drive your success if you control it, or it can be a world-altering, hampering event in your life. So it's a real thing. Everybody faces it. Lots of anxiety in the world today. Make mention of it in different attributes all the time on the podcast. Every time you turn on the news, the world is ending in some manner. If you aren't the right thought, if you aren't the right color, if you aren't the right creed, you're the end of the world. If you are the right color, right creed, you are to be epitomized. It's terrible things coming at us in the news. Love one another no matter what it is. Just be good to people. That's my philosophy in life. And let these newscasters just fumble away. I mean, if we listen to the people that are supposedly the experts in the world, banks go under. SVB happened here a couple weeks ago. You can't make it up. These people are Harvard graduates and have run big companies and some of the biggest leaders and supposedly got it all put together in the world, and it goes under because of a couple comments online, and the bank goes under. Now we have the other big banks saving them. Talk about anxiety. Money will drive anxiety in you no matter what. So the world's can be a very screwed up place, and anxiety can be the outcome of that. But if it's you yourself putting the anxiety over the top of your own mind, you need to be able to control that, and you can control it. So today we just want to talk about how anxiety is used by high achievers. Most high achievers, not all, there's not all of anything. You know, there is always the exception to any rule. But high achievers typically carry some high levels of anxiety. The fear of failure, the self-doubt. This can be your friend or your foe, right? I carry anxiety. I said I was going to tell a story about this week. I have a fear of failure, a fear of not doing well, not being, accomplishing what I've set out to do, not being there for my team members, not being there for my spouse all the time. And I was at a great event this week, our customer council event down in Dallas, and I was trying to fly back to Des Moines Thursday night, and a horrific set of storms hit. And at the last second, 5 o'clock at night, my flight got canceled. Well, I have to be on the East Coast first, 6 a.m. I'm leaving Monday, just a couple of those weeks in a row for a very important endeavor too. And I'm sitting there going, well, I can't miss this. They couldn't get me home on a flight until Saturday night from Thursday because guess what? It's spring break. So there isn't any empty seats going anywhere. So my anxiety started to bubble up, and I'm like, I can control this. So I rented a car and drove all night and drove the 11 hours home because I wanted to be with my wife. I wanted to be with my family, and I needed to be able to rest a couple days to be able to get after it out on the East Coast on Monday. That's anxiety, right? That is a fear of, oh my God, I've got to get there because this could go wrong. I could have flown home Saturday. Wouldn't have liked it. I would have had to, hand wash some things in the sink at the hotel I would have gotten to. But got the last car. Mustang GT can do a very good time. I did the cannonball run from Dallas to Des Moines in 10 hours and 15 minutes. Look it up. I might have been exceeding some speed limits. Anyway, that was my anxious week. But I want to talk about how you can control this. And I read a great article. I was thinking about this episode, and the latest Harvard Business Review came out. It's an article by Maura Aarons Mele. Last name spelled M-E-L-E. I believe it's Mele. And they go into, the HBR article, she goes into this anxiety can help or hinder you as well. And the first type of questions to ask yourself is, do you stew over failures or mistakes in business? And this is in your personal life too, right? I mean, little bitty things. I didn't win the deal. Oh gosh, I'm a complete failure. Or it didn't go quite right. Or the kids are acting up and not doing well in school. You're only as happy as your saddest child as a parent. Does the anxiety creep up on you that you're failing them and that you're letting them down? Are you ruminating on little things, right? Do you get this compulsive just spiral over and over and over again? Yes, all of the above for me sometimes. And it takes a concerted effort in the 6 inches between my own two ears to battle this. And I want to go through these things so it helps you recognize that you can take the power of that anxious feeling to drive you to new results and better outcomes, but you also have to contain it because you can get a detrimental effect really, really quick if you let it. Depression creeps in, you start shutting yourself down, etc. But anxiety can help lead to positive outcomes. It does create drive, right? It makes you work hard. It leads to achievement. All these people that carry these anxieties, you could describe them as the extra milers, right? The go-hards, right? Nothing but the best is acceptable. I fight that in my mind, right? But that anxiety can be an instigator of the opposite or the imposter syndrome too. I'm not as good as others, right? That I've said before, keeping up with the Joneses in your personal life, they're the enemy. That's the devil. Keeping up with someone drives you to make poor decisions. Doubting yourself in the business world is as I'm not as good as others, I'm just lucky, etc. Those are thought traps. And the article goes into these different thought traps. And I want to share a few of them with you. I'm not going to share all of them, but there are some really, really, the most common traps and how to dig out of them is a great set of stories. And the article really calls out, and I'm going to call out as well, these are thought starters for me, but there's a couple of great books by an author by the name of David Burns that they call out in this HBR article. And the two books are Feeling Good and The New Mood Therapy. And the second book is The Feeling Good Handbook. Both of them excellent reads, something good for you to pass the time. Easy reads, don't take a long time. There's lots of good books out there. Spur your intelligence, spur your outlook, spur your capabilities through reading and absorbing these things. You don't have all the answers. I certainly don't have all the answers. I got 33 years in the same industry, and I'm still screwing up every single day. It's a continuum, this thing of reaching goals and high achievement. So give yourself the benefit of getting better in whatever you like, be it your hobbies, your family, your church, your community, your work. Whatever it is, don't forget to keep on keeping on. But some of these anxiety thought traps that they talk about in here and are pulled out of these books. The first one is all or nothing thinking, right? And what this is if it's not perfect, it's a failure. You know, you could have done 90% good and 10% not as you would have liked it to be, right? It's like, man, I killed it until this one sentence. Maybe it's a job interview. Maybe it's a presentation. And you just killed it, except you said one thing that in your self-grade and review of the outcomes when you're done you didn't like. The way to get around this, first of all, it's not a failure. You can have both. If you just change your mindset a little bit and look at life that it's not a win or loss or a success and failure, and replace that and with the word oh, if you do that in your mental approach, it takes a lot of anxiety out of that situation. I did really, really good on these 9 things, and that one area, I need a little improvement. Instead of not giving any consideration to the 90% good things, and you go, God, I really screwed up that one piece. I can't believe it. They're never going to buy from me, or they're never going to have me back, or someone else is better than me, and all this creeps in. Think good and bad, not good or bad. That little word, you have to add one letter, one additional letter, or becomes and the whole psychology of this interaction in your own mind becomes less detrimental and less critical in your own mind. Give yourself the break away from all or nothing thinking. And then second is, don't label yourself or others. One misstep does not make a loser. You know, your view of another person also shouldn't have to think that way. No value or, it leads to a breakdown in communication. If you at one point didn't like something that someone else did in front of you or involving you in a business environment, it's not your style. They think differently than you. Don't just put them in the bad egg basket. They have all sorts of thoughts that you haven't even given consideration to yet. That's narcissism if you do that to others in the work environment. But let's just talk about yourself. Don't do that to yourself. Don't label yourself based on one slip of the drive or the outcome you're looking for, that suddenly you're a POS, a piece of scumbag. Use whatever S you want there. That's not how life works. No one is perfect. No one ever will be perfect. Perfect is a subjective discussion anyway. What I would see as perfect certainly differs from other people. Other people view things completely differently than I do based on their context, based on their background, based on their upbringing, etc. So don't put a grading system over the top of you that's unattainable. All that does is hinder your ability for the great things you did do to have impact on others and yourself, your career, your children, being a parent, being a child. Don't judge yourself. The worst thing that could ever happen to me when I was growing up, my parents meant the world to me. But if I got the "you disappointed us" conversation, right? That was a lot worse to me than the spanking or the grounding or whatever, just letting them down. And you don't think, your brain isn't developed till you're 25 years old. Let's face it, folks. I mean, you don't even think straight. You're believing in Santa Claus until you're 6, 7, 8 years old. You have no concept of reality at that age. You have no understanding of what it really takes in this world at 15, 16, 17 years old. And think about the things they're trying to empower youngsters to do without their parents' consent and without other people knowing today. I mean, you got to be 21 to drink, but you can, be 12 to do all this other crazy crap that's on the news these days. But don't label yourself. Don't let that lead to a bad step. Don't disappoint others because you're putting too much emphasis in your own mind that you're doing that to others because of one small misstep. Learn from it, but don't break yourself down like that. The other thing to do, and the third thing they mention here, and I like this one a lot too, is don't jump to conclusions. You cannot read minds, right? One thing I said to my daughters, they always were fearful that someone would think they were stupid or uncool or whatever might be the case because of the social media junk that's around there today. Unattainable expectations because of filters and fake book out there and Insta scam and all these others, TikTok, just idiotic, mind-ruining applications that we're embracing full-heartedly, and adults are doing it too. There's some funny videos out there, folks, but it is putting a mental health crisis over our society like no other. Understand what's going on here. But what I used to tell to my daughters all the time is, just so you know, other people aren't thinking about others. We're in this me world, not we world. I talk about it all the time too. Other people are not concerned with you at all because they're too busy thinking about how great they are themselves. Add the filter on the photo, post it. Change my skin tone, add a little sunshine look to me, adjust my smile. Hey, my hip looks too small. Hey, my belly looks too big. Photoshop that out, post it up. Aren't I awesome? Just ask me. It's all fake. So don't hold yourself to those standards because it's unattainable. But most importantly in this concept, don't jump to conclusions that other people are thinking you're not doing something right. Because what'll end up happening, so you yourself are driving the concept. What I'm saying here is you did something wrong or someone didn't smile at you passing you in the hallway. Oh my God, they don't like me anymore. They're mad at me. Or a disagreement with your spouse. They want a divorce. They're going to leave me. The world doesn't work that black and white. It just is not that way. We're not built that way as humans. Don't let yourself jump to conclusions that one thing that didn't read in your mind perfectly right is terrible. You have to take it a little step at a time, because what ends up happening if you always jump to these conclusions is you get this mindset of, I'm not even going to try. They don't like me. They don't think I'm going to be good enough, right? The fight is out of the dog before the starting bell. Don't take the fight out of yourself before the starting bell by thinking others are thinking something bad about you. They aren't thinking about you 9 out of 10 times because they don't care about you. You got to care about yourself here. Everything's not a catastrophe. A catastrophist, it's a word. It was in Harvard Business Review. A catastrophist always thinks of the worst possible outcome. I'll give you an example here that a lot of people deal with. Think of a hypochondriac. My daughters, I love them to death, but they can think that they are dying very easily. I'm going to tell a funny story. My daughter, I love you. It's a funny story. She can have some hypochondriacal theories in her mind. She comes to me and she says, Dad, behind my right ear really hurts. Well, tell me about it. Well, it really hurts, and I talked to Mom, my former spouse, who has her nursing degree, but is also a supreme warrior. Mom thinks it could be a brain tumor, and you need to take me in and have a CAT scan done. You got a pain behind your right ear? And when did it show up? Last couple weeks, it's really started to bother me. Okay. What else has happened the last couple weeks? Let's talk about this for a second. Let's just think as I'm looking at her new glasses on her face. I said, what else happened? She goes, I can't think of anything. I said, what about your glasses? Well, no, it doesn't hurt in the front of my eyes like I'm getting adjusted to it because, remember, I thought something was wrong my second day I had the glasses because my eyes felt a little funny, and you said it's me getting used to the prescription, and that went away like you said it would. She was, dying that day too. I said, no, think about where it kind of rests on your ears. Give me your glasses. And I ran the sidebar that goes around your ear under hot water, and I kind of stretched out the ear catch, the ear curve on the right side a little bit. I said, wear this for a couple days. Tell me how you feel. A couple days go by. I don't hear anything from her. I said, hey, how's your headache behind your head? Behind your ear? How's it going? Oh, I haven't had that happen at all. Since when? Well, come to think about since you adjusted my glasses. It is not a catastrophe, and it wasn't a brain tumor. Love you, honey, but go through life by just taking a deep breath every once in a while, and you aren't dying. This thinking will undermine your happiness and your outcomes faster than anything. It locks you down. There's a great movie from the I think it was the late 80s, might have been the early 90s, called What About Bob? Bill Murray is brilliant in this movie. Brilliant in this movie. Richard Dreyfuss, brilliant in this movie. You need to go watch it because this OCD and this catastrophic thinking by Bill Murray plays a ravaged OCD mental health patient. And he undermines his own happiness until he finally figures it out and gets it out of him. And feelings are not facts. Remember this, right? And society needs to listen to this one, right? A storm does not mean the world is ending. It means it's a thunderstorm. I talked about this a few weeks ago. No rain, the world is not ending. It rained last week, the world was ending. Now it's not raining and somewhere else the world is ending. Another opinion other than mine, you're a Nazi or you're a fascist or you're an Antifa or whatever this world's talking about. You're wrong. You have to think exactly like me. Just understand that feelings aren't facts. How you feel is not truly what may be going on. Now, feelings are important in human interaction because perceptions can be your reality. You have to understand and contemplate people's feelings. But what I'm saying here is don't let your anxiety feelings and the world is ending lead your life. I'm not talking about how some people approach more introvertedly or extrovertedly, or some people are more IQ-based instead of intelligent quotient instead of emotional intelligent quotient focused. I will take those with emotional intelligence far more than those that are the greatest strategists because they can't operationalize it. But don't let the catastrophe just lead to you being shut down all the time. That's what we're saying here. The world's not ending every time something doesn't go your way. Chicken Little, great old story. I'm sure something's wrong and we need to change the verbiage in that Chicken Little story in some manner now to not hurt somebody's feelings. But the sky is not falling every single day. It is okay to understand that sometimes it doesn't go your way. And it's not the end of the world. It's not a catastrophe. Enough done on that one. I think you understand what I'm saying here. Next I want to talk about is filtering. And this kind of goes back to that 90% good, 10% bad, and you're only focused on the bad. But the article calls it in the book, actually talks it, picking out the only one negative and just spinning on it. Rumination, I struggle with ruminating, right? I have some OCD tendencies. Like when I see a number, like I dropped the rental car off yesterday after I got back from Dallas driving the Cannonball Run in the Mustang GT. Very comfortable car, by the way. I was really worried it was going to bother me, but it was awesome. So kudos to the Ford manufacturing company. I've always been a Chevy guy, Corvette Z28 guy, but I only had one choice. So I took it and we went. Well, I'm dropping that thing off and you have to remember the mileage because they didn't have a drop spot. Here you had to walk into to the Hertz spot, and I'm going 18,697, 18,697. I'm repeating that word. That's the mileage I have to tell them when I bring it in. And I found myself 30 minutes later on my drive home in my own car going 18,637, 18,000. And I'm like, Jesus, stop. Ugh. I was ruminating, right? And I had just picked up that thing and just kept going after it and after and after it. In this concept, it's picking one bad thing. Your mindset needs to be adjusted there. Because what happens is, number 6, discounting positives. If you filter out only the things that you see as a negative and don't give yourself some kudos and some cred on some good things going on, you're going to end up having bad outcomes. Now, this is where a concept that I've touched on quite a bit of being humble or having humility, right? You don't want to discount positives about yourself in your own mind and to others, and taking humility, which is a good trait, but don't discount your achievements to a level that it leads to a lack of self-belief. Think about that line. So if you are a braggadocious, narcissistic ass, that isn't good. But if you are so humble or carry so much humility that you don't self-recognize that you're doing good work in other areas and certain things, you are going to have a self-belief issue. Doubt is an enemy of successful people. Having a cautious approach to things is a good thing. That's not doubt. Doubt is, I can't do it. I'm not going to be successful. I can't run that fast, jump that high, push that hard, think that fast, speak that well, write that good, spell that good. If you believe anything like that, you aren't going to engage and get any better. Your self-doubt is going to shut down your ability to progress in life. That's not good. Humility, good. Self-doubt, bad. Think it through. Don't discount positives. Don't raise your hand and go, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm friggin' awesome. Let me tell you about it. You're slipping into the narcissistic braggadocious side, cockiness. Be self-confident and internally make sure you don't ruminate on or filter a negative situation and make that's your total reality, because that's not the case. Everybody's good at certain things. Seventh thing is should I's, enemy of the mojo. I should have been better. Should is the enemy of having positive mojo. And where I was going with that is, I should have done this. I should have been better. I should be more successful. I should be further along in my career. I should be taller. Yeah, good luck with that one. Big shoes, high heels, right? It's okay to set aspirational goals. That's good. But don't doubt where you are and just put all this negative mojo in your head. Don't neuter positive outlooks. Don't use them, as a demotivator. Use them as a motivator. Being so self-critical, you're going to just herniate the disc of success. You are not going to get anywhere if you don't give yourself a little bit of positive juices flowing. Should you have done something at some point in your life differently? Of course. But in a daily interaction, in your personal life, in your business life, don't let should be the enemy of positive outlooks. I had a leader one time. Great concept. Don't let good get in the way of, don't let great get in the way of good. I almost screwed it up. It was such a positive concept, I can't remember it. Don't let great get in the way of good. And what it means is, don't hold back and think you aren't successful without hitting, the grand slam home run, for a sports analogy. Singles win games, man. You're progressing. You are making small steps. A lot of people look at successful people and just see them on the mountaintop of success and think, oh, they've always been successful. What they don't realize is on the other side of that mountain that you can't see are skin knees, broken bones, lost deals, more no's than yeses. It's the iceberg scenario, right? You see this beautiful, majestic iceberg sticking out of the water, and the foundation that holds it up and makes it look beautiful is 10 times that size underneath and out of vision, out of visible space to you. You have to realize that people don't get to where they are. I mean, there's nepotism, right? The Getty family and the Rockefellers, nobody can lose a fortune more than the third generation of a family. I see it around me, how it just leads to this bad mental outlook in life, and that they think they're great because they've got a bunch of money in the bank. But don't let that confuse you here. Success takes things that don't go your way, but those that are successful fight through it. They use it to inspire themselves. They use it to drive themselves to the next attempt. Remember, you don't fail when you have something go wrong. You fail when you quit trying. As soon as you quit, then you're the failure. You got to keep going. Now, I talk about the Joneses a lot in our personal lives. They are the enemy. Don't do social comparisons in business either. You look at somebody that they always do better than me. They're always higher percent of plan. They're always number one in the stacks. Turn that comparison into more of I wonder what they're doing different, a curiosity type approach, right? Look at them and go, okay, how are they achieving that maybe I could try too? The other thing it can lead to is I wouldn't be comfortable doing what they're doing. Maybe they're a cheat. Bad example of people here. I'm not saying that people that are successful would be that, but maybe you have an integrity issue that has allowed people to be successful at first. Remember, karma is a bitch. Those people are going to get what's coming to them, no doubt. But if it is something that you think that, hey, that's a good attribute, when you sit back and look, don't judge them that they're better than you. Judge them and say, what are they doing? What are the successful people doing that I'm not doing yet? How can I incorporate that into my approach? Where can I improve? Maybe it's my presentation skills. Maybe I need to take a public speaking class. Maybe I need to get better at writing proposals. Maybe to be a better parent, I need to be more strict instead of their best friends. How come Bill and Sue's kids are always so polite? Well, it's because Bill and Sue set the expectations that the children are to be polite. How come Bill and Sue's kids aren't, wearing grunge clothing and dyeing their hair and growing and putting black nail polish on and becoming this dark, sinister character? It's because they didn't allow the concept. They said, this is the parameters. We want you to be your own individual, but you aren't going to be like that. There's guardrails in life for good, parents and business life. So make sure that you're looking to others that you feel are better than you and seeing with an open mind, what are they doing differently? And as a parent, don't be a friend, be a father. Don't be a party girl, be a mother with them. Don't try to be cool as the dad and let the party bring the drugs and alcohol to your house. Well, we can keep our eye on them then. You're an idiot. Somebody's going to get hurt. You're going to lose everything you've ever worked for. Start being parents instead of friends in the personal life. Personalizing blame, too, is another one. That's back to that ruminating stuff where you just sit and you spin and you spin and you spin. It's emotional to a fault. Don't be obsessive. OCD is a tough disorder. Don't let emotions run rampant like that. Again, back to the people with emotional intelligence, much better than those with intellectual intelligence. I will take emotional intelligence and the people over the strategy every day, the smart strategy, because you have to be able to operationalize it. You have to be able to take the strategy and get people inspired to do it. And how you inspire people is through great emotional intelligence, using lots of different outlooks, using lots of different strengths, avoiding the weaknesses that you yourself may not see, blind spots, right? We discussed that down in Dallas this week. Blind spots to yourself or to others. People that think they got it all figured out have huge blind spots. Now, how do you fight all these things, right? Listed 9, 10 things there. How do you fight them all? Make anxiety your ally. Ask yourself, just take a second when it starts to ramp up, you get that feeling, that tension between the shoulder blades. I fought this. I take a daily helper, folks, because of this. I am wired tight, small level, but I take a daily helper. I'm proud to admit it. I ramped up. I had fear of failure so hard that I needed a little extra help. It happened when I was going through my divorce. I had a major surgery. Stress was in my life. The housing market was crashing. The economy was terrible in 2010. I had a lot of stressors, and I never quit taking it because I felt fine. So a lot of people fight this, and they get a little help from their doctors, etc. I'm not saying go out and get on meds. That's not what I'm saying, but I am also strong enough mentally to understand and raise my hand and say I needed a little help at one point in my life. I've kept it going because I feel great. I'm not going to mess up my mojo. But if you are really ruminating all the time and that anxiety is out of control, it's okay to ask for help. But the first thing, ask what's worrying you. Why am I worrying about this? My daughter with the glasses. Why did you think you were dying? Your glasses were too tight. It's a great example I bring up. If she starts ruminating, now I go, are your glasses too tight? She'll laugh. She goes, yeah, my glasses are too tight. Be self-compassionate. Think of things you are doing well to give yourself credit. Positive feelings about yourself. Humor. I've touched about this several times. Some people think life is too damn serious. But always, always understand things could be worse. And when you have something go wrong, a little self-deprecating humor goes a long way. Physical exercise, stretching. If you're getting ramped up, if things are bothering you and you're just tightening up, step up, stretch, run up and down the stairs, go for a walk around the block with the dog, take a deep breath, lay down, stretch, take a nap. All these things can get that switch turned off. But physicality is a good thing. Exercise is a great de-stressor. My wife, her physical fitness is she wants to live to be the super flexible 85-year-old woman that you see, doesn't have osteoporosis and all that. It's really about health benefits. But she also does it to control and tamper her anxiety. She gets ramped up. She is a very dedicated person. It's how she became a Division I All-American basketball player, right? Is because so driven. Successful people do what unsuccessful people don't like to do, and many times successful people fight inner demons that others have no concept of. So you have to give yourself some outlets. Humor, laugh a little bit, physicality. And then just say no. Seems simple, but just say, nope, I'm not going to let this anxiety come up today. Take some self-control. Give yourself an out. Say, not going to happen, not on my watch. And the most important thing of all this, you know how you take care of these things to not let that anxiety get in your space, is you always remember this. You are awesome. Keep that shit up. Talk next week.